Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we're here with another PWCC weekly review where I go through the top 100 PWCC auctions for the week in the soccer card category. We talk about it, we enjoy it, and we sort of break down where things are going and how everything is shaping up, so I'm looking forward to it. Most weeks I give a good preview myself before I actually get into this video. This week I'm just kind of going in blind. We'll see how that plays out. I'm thinking it'll be a little bit more just sort of intuitive and what I'm thinking in the moment, so hopefully you enjoy it. Let's get into it. All right, so starting on the bottom row, this is actually, I did do a little bit of research at the beginning. This interested in me. The R9 here selling for $228 and a PSA 10. This is a fun one just because, you know, sort of set collecting, if people are into that, which honestly the modern collector doesn't seem to be terribly into it, but myself personally, I find set collecting to be fun. I've not started on this set. I don't know if I plan to, but it would be one of the sets I'd be interested in. You know, you get the first World Cup for Messi and Ronaldo, and these foil cards for a lot of the other stars at the time are really, really cool and hard to gem. So personally found that interesting. Did want to give a peek at it, and I was actually pretty surprised. I mean, lately it's actually up or holding very well compared to last year, so that's impressive. Now I will say, you know, even back sort of during the peak of 2021 and all that, I mean, it was maybe a $500 card, so only having, you know, a lot of things in soccer probably halved in that time, especially a lot of the big cards. So something like that's held up really, really well. And I do find that interesting. Personally, you know, during the downtimes, I'd rather capitalize on other things that maybe drop more that I think should be better. But it does show that, you know, those cards that don't get a ton of hype have held up better. Next to that, we have a really cool Harry Kane auto from the 2018 World Cup set. So pretty good run by England in that World Cup. Could be something worth commemorating if you are a fan. PSA 4 Messi of the Campeón. This is probably the least preferred or one of the least preferred Messi rookies, going for $250. So it seems like a pretty strong sale. You could definitely find that raw in better condition for probably cheaper than that. But, you know, not every purchase is going to be the best possible one. Next to that, a 1995 Monday Cromos Zanetti. This is pop 1 of 1 and goes for a pretty good premium, but I would say I do believe I've seen a 1994 of this, so I wouldn't go around spending a ton of money unless you're just a diehard Zanetti collector. I'd imagine there will be more to come. Above that, there is a pretty fun row, a lot of vintage in this one. This was an interesting Maradona, his Estampos rookie in an authentic min size not met grade, going for $250. I did think about taking a stab at this, but recently I purchased a PSA 3 with drawing on it on eBay for about $500, so it seemed like a relatively fair price, I would say. Something like this wouldn't really concern me to buy a min size not met, because, I mean, realistically, you know, it doesn't look that great in terms of centering, so it's not like someone was trying to trim this. I mean, if we just look at that, I mean, the bottom is terrible, so if you're cutting more off the bottom, I mean, shame on you. And this cut on the left-hand side, you can kind of tell goes from left to right, so I'm guessing that's sort of what does it. But if you were trimming something like this, who would do that? Deserves the grade that it is, but it doesn't look terrible. Next to that, we have a 1967 Pele. People typically pay a good penny for anything Pele related, so going for $250 seems to make sense. However, you know, $250 and a 4 would mean that, you know, stuck ones of this wouldn't go for too much, so I wouldn't, you know, overpay for anything like that. Next to that, there is this Julio Libinati. This is from the same set as the Miazza from last week, and, you know, that big Miazza card that's been selling a good bit. That went in the 12 to 15K range, if memory serves me right, and this one goes for $250, probably just someone trying to find other stars in the set. I did look up this guy just to, you know, sort of get something on him, and basically from what I read, he was the first transatlantic transfer in soccer, and kind of a club legend in Torino in Italy, so fun one there for, you know, what could be a good set all time in terms of the Miazza carrying it. And then, you know, we got Maradona, we got Pele, we got a pre-war legend, and then you get a Gavi gold, so it depends what kind of person you are. But SCC 10, yeah, rookie card out of 50 gold. Could be up your wheelhouse if you're into that type of stuff. Me personally, not huge. Up here, 2018 National Treasures Messi out of 99, PSA 8. This is not any match worn, so, I mean, really to me, I don't see much of a point in buying this. You can actually get 2018 National Treasures Messi's from the base set of National Treasures, like numbered, for pretty good prices. I mean, I think I've seen the Emerald out of 5 go for $300 to $400 range, so I would much rather have that than this patch that has no meaning, but, you know, that's just me. Lothar Matthäus, this one actually seems like a big drop, and I did look it up. One of the few things I did look up beforehand. The rest I'll have to do on my own here, but, I mean, compared to recent sales, actually kind of up. I mean, if you look at this PSA 5, went for $80, and this goes for $276 and a 6. I mean, that's a pretty decent jump, right? But Going back a little bit more, you will see, yeah, $80. I mean, that's a different sticker. This one goes for 80 and a 5, and then we keep on going. And back during 2022, this was huge. I mean, people paid $870 for a 5, and that 6 just went for, you know, like $250-ish. So, I mean, you know, this is one of the examples of you do have to be careful in vintage, because there's always this scale of supply versus demand, and sometimes, you know, demand's a little high, sometimes supply's a little high, but it does offer opportunities, right? You know, if something gets that high but then also bounces back this low, maybe you can find times to enter, and that could be a very good purchase if you're a, you know, vintage German collector. He also has a 79 rookie, so maybe more people figured that out and now have something else to hunt for, and maybe, you know, drew their attention away from this, so that could be it as well. This Cruyff 1967, I actually don't think I've seen this before. I mean, it is PSA Pop 101, just one graded higher, so, you know, not many of them getting graded. But, you know, sort of these pre-rookie postcard type items are always something that's going to be debatable. From a collector standpoint, if you really like a player, personally, even someone like Cruyff, I probably will buy some early stuff that might not be necessarily a sticker or card, just because he's so legendary and, you know, he almost transcends the sport, and I mean, basically has shaped a lot of what it is today. So sure, I might go after that, but for a lot of other players, I don't really think that it's going to be all too beneficial to chase out that extra stuff. But of course, if you're a collector, it really does make for a fun time. Like, he has a little pin from a couple years before his rookie. He has like other pictures. I mean, there's just a ton of things you can go for. And if you're really into collecting, it does make it fun. So that is cool, but I don't really have much to say on in terms of the price. 9.5 Ronaldo from the 2010 World Cup set. I'm actually going to look up what this has been going for. As you can see here, it goes for $288 in the weekly. Recently on eBay, I guess in December, went for $200 on best offer. And then we've had some sales before here going for $335, $330. And then way back during the boom, you know, the likes of $1,300, but what are you gonna do? You win some, you lose some. Lately though, that card looking pretty steady, especially, you know, given that sale. It doesn't have the subgrades typically. If you don't have subgrades, that's gonna hurt you a good bit. So that's a pretty good sale. Comparing up, this is also interesting. You have, you know, your choice between that Ronaldo 2010 BGS 9.5 or a Messi 7 Catalan. Now, Messi rookies are plenty, so you can always sort of make that argument, but it does seem like a really good purchase here for $300, especially when you compare this BGS 7, the Catalan version, to the PSA 6, so the less rare Campione version. Would give me some reason to want to go with that BGS 7 over the 6 PSA, but I know PSA sort of has this whole love affair around it, and everyone's really into it, so it is what it is. Here we have a 1959 Heinerle Brazilian soccer team with Pele. I don't think I've seen this before, so I don't know where Pele is in this. Okay, yeah, I mean, right smack dab in the middle, pretty easy to find. Nice looking card. I mean, I do like the color of it a lot. $300 for a team photo of a great Brazilian team from that era in the Heinerle set. You know, team photo collecting isn't as big, but, you know, if any sort of player era is going to have team photo collecting, you'd imagine it's Brazil of that age, so I like it. Up here you have a 1981 crack Fulbito Maradona. This is, what, third, fourth year Maradona. A little square-like disc, always some different sort of designs with Argentina. You have a lot of diversity in terms of that, which I think makes it fun. Some people might say they don't like it, but I do think it makes it interesting and sort of gives a different flavor. Going for $312, that compares to a $102 authentic sale recently. I mean, that authentic sale seems really low. Granted, you know, it's authentic compared to a 1. Going for $88 before that, it went for $4,000 in PSA 8. Really nothing too great to compare here. I guess, okay. May 1st going for $900 in a PSA 2. So, I mean, kind of all over the place. Really just is what it is. Doesn't seem to come up a ton. So maybe that plays into the, you know, whole graph bouncing around type of thing. But really cool one for Maradona there if you're into his early stuff. This is also a player that, in my opinion, you know, his early stuff, there's not the mass amount of options that you have with someone like Pele. With Pele, it's almost endless the amount of items you can find, which does make it fun for a collector, but it also makes it feel impossible for someone approaching it. Maradona is quite the opposite, you know, not a ton going on there. Then above that, we have another Pele team photo here going for $312 in a PSA 2. This is rookie year compared to the Heinerle, which is not, but the Heinerle's, you know, this kind of elusive set in vintage. I guess not in the set that you can't find it, but it's more of this alluring set where people are just really drawn to it because of the photos and everything. So Brazilian team collecting would seem to be the one team that does sort of get some play, so that going for $312 is nice. This Mbappe Red Flood feels light. I mean, you know, I I guess a super ultra modern collector. I collect some USMNT stuff, but I'm pretty picky, and I'm definitely not a big red guy, but I know red's all the rage, and I think this is Shai's card that he was selling. I know he's really into the red, and a lot of those guys are. So that seemed light. I mean, just, I know Red Flood's beloved, and Mbappe, I mean, an amazing player, so you would think that that's going to do numbers, but I guess you never know with Obsidian how many Red Floods will be out there. Will they make new ones every year? I guess maybe that's sort of the question at hand. Here you have a PSA 10 New Era Silver Prism Mbappe. I'm actually going to look this one up because it's not something you see too often, and not something I definitely talk about. One for 324 before that in January, 348, 400, 650. Okay, maybe that's just a wonky sale. Yeah, I don't know. Fixed prices? Maybe. Okay, never mind. The further back you go, yeah, it was like 600-700. So it does seem like a pretty sharp drop. But, you know, Mbappe, I guess, by the Red Flood sale too. Maybe just Mbappe stuff in general isn't doing too hot right now. PSG not in a great spot in terms of Champions League. And also, you know, he still hasn't transferred out of PSG, so he doesn't have the real hobby love that you get with something like that. Here we have PSA 10 Messi going for 324 of the Champions of Europe for 2005. From what I've seen, this is a pretty common sticker, so, you know, I'm not sure what sort of premium you should be paying for this. Personally, I'd just buy one raw and be happy with that, but there's a ton of people that will probably chase PSA 10 Messi stuff, so I can see why that goes for a good bit. Next to that, you have a PSA 8. This is actually a Messi rookie. It is the one with him on the back, and this is actually, I think there's, you know, maybe different printing, something along that line, because I have a card like this as well. They're not all like that, but some of them are, and it doesn't make sense. So basically on this side, you have 2 players, there's 4 on the card in total, but the colors are very vivid, right? Like the dark black, the deep yellow, and then you flip it over, and on this side it looks faded almost, but I've seen that in a couple different ones, and it all sort of has the same level of fading, it would seem. It's not like, you know, a couple got left in the sun and sort of baked at different rates. I mean, they just seem consistently like that, so maybe something of note there. I don't know, you know, what it means, but it is something that does exist, and as you can see there, I mean, still doesn't affect the grade. As you can tell, grade's an 8, so it's not like something is extremely wrong with the card. Then we have a Cruyff 1971 Monty Gum. This is a pretty beloved sticker for Cruyff just because you got like the soccer balls around his head, and it looks really cool, and I mean, just seems like a classic vintage sort of design. Sales history on it, we have 324 recently. A PSA 3 went for about 1,000, and a PSA 1 before that went for 480. So all in all, I mean, does seem to be down minorly, you know, maybe $50, $100, depending on which sale you go off of, but it is a PSA 1, so you would assume more unstuck and even stuck ones of these will hit the market. Just how much demand will there be and how often will they hit the market? That is the question. Next to that, you have a Holland insert from Ultra Modern 2019 Footballer Flash going for 336 and a 10. Seems like a pretty good price, but you know, is PSA 10 Holland insert, so it does have some allure for that reason. That's why that would get pushed up there. 1962 Verlag Pele here, just a really nice photo. PSA 2.5, so you would assume unstuck. That's typically how that goes, but sometimes PSA overgrades. So going for 348 doesn't seem bad. I mean, if I'm going to target early Pele stuff, I definitely want to target, you know, something unstuck if possible. But even I would say stuck ones that look amazing would be worth going after. 2006 Cristiano Ronaldo going for 360 and a 9. It seems about right in line with the prices we've been seeing lately, so nothing too crazy going on there. Thierry Henry National Treasures Auto. I don't know, post-playing career autos don't really entice me too much, just because, I mean, at the end of the day, they can keep signing for a very long time. So it's one of those things where if you really want one, you can probably still get one later. This is an interesting one. I didn't even see this when I looked through the first time, but a lot of 25, 2014, Landon Donovans, and a PSA 10, going for, you know, about $15 a card. Doesn't really seem like it was worth grading those. You know, there's a lot of them out there, not that many Landon Donovan collectors. I mean, you know, for cards like this, the way I would say is basically when you look at Messi and Ronaldo's population, there's like 3,000, 4,000 PSA 10s, right? So if you're ever going to grade stuff like this, think in your head, is there 3,000 to 4,000 people that want this? Now, maybe you can grade it and sell them in the short time frame where there actually is people that want to buy them. But if you don't, then you can see here, I mean, you can even hit all 10s and still barely get the cost back for grading. So, you know, probably not worth it. But we're kind of out of that era of grading anyway, so I think at this point people are well aware. Here you have a Ronaldo 2021 Simplicidad 5 out of 5 PSA 9. I do know that that set, you know, kind of under the radar, not really a big set that people cared too much about, but it was this, I believe, niche release sort of in Europe. And yeah, I mean, a numbered out of 5, red on red, it would appear. I mean, just a really cool looking card. You know, I know the luster of the set isn't really there, but I do think that, you know, $400 for a great looking 5 out of 5 Ronaldo in a Man U kit. You know, I know the stint at Man U didn't go as planned, but that does look like a really nice card. Up here, 2 PSA 10 Holland, so since they're right there back to back, we'll give a look and see what they've been doing lately. On the 3-month graph here, that is, that's not great. That's not great, going from 517, 520 down to 414. They were kind of on a bit of a rise there post-World Cup, but Holland, I guess, hasn't been doing too well for City, so, you know, that probably plays a factor into what's going on here. Then there's this Ronaldo numbered out of 50 award winners, gold, Topps Chrome 2017, pop 1 of 5, 4 graded higher. I actually thought that this was a really cool sort of case hit from the 2017 Topps Chrome. Basically, I recently purchased an Iniesta red, and I just thought, you know, people don't really care that much about inserts in soccer, but I do think that there's something to it, you know. In the world of ultramodern, where people do get tired of looking at the same card, that's why base cards sort of died off, because people were like, oh, we've seen all the base cards. Well, now I feel like people have probably seen all the numbered cards, so you know what happens after that. I think people probably start finding cool inserts they like, and so this is something where a gold out of 50 Ronaldo from the Topps Chrome 2017 set for $400 doesn't seem terrible to me. Obviously, I didn't bid on it. I wasn't going after it. I'm not a huge Ronaldo guy, so it is what it is. But I don't think that's that bad. I mean, if we're talking in this row, would I rather have a Salah? I know it's a PSA 10 Salah, but I mean, it's Salah, right? Salah. We have Ronaldo Gold, Topps Chrome 2017, or you have a Salah rookie, a Holland rookie, a Holland rookie. I mean, me, I'm taking that Ronaldo every day of the week. Would love to hear your thoughts down below if you agree or disagree, but, you know, just something I've been thinking of lately. Up here, the famous UK Traditions Messi, the one Gary V would recommend. This is 2006, not opposed to the 2004 that it was thought prior, but this in a PSA 10 going for $430 still does a decent number. I mean, in my opinion, I don't see why this even sells for this. I think it's just, this is sort of what happens when you have really high comps at one point in time. I think, you know, prices still tend to stay high, even if they shouldn't. And I think this is one of those scenarios. Not a great looking photo, not a great set at all. Sort of one of these sets that PSA doesn't really have much of a history of grading, but just is graded. Yeah, I don't get it. We'll just move on. So you could have this 2006 fake rookie, or you could have the real rookie in a PSA 8 for $430. I'd much rather take this every day of the week. It actually feels like, I mean, a pretty decent price. When you compare to the PSA 4 earlier that sold for like $250, I think it shows that these mid to high grade Messis in the 7, 8, 9 range are getting pretty low, to the point where maybe the people that were purchasing the 4s or 5s could step up and, you know, get something a little bit better. I think that if you can, that's definitely something worth doing. I wouldn't go after 4s and 5s when you could just save up and get an 8, right? Would much rather have that than what we were talking about prior. Next to that, this unlimited Kylian Mbappe from 2017 Select. Really cool looking card. PSA 10, definitely very much down from the peaks, but one of those nice rookies if you're not into, you know, Mbappe with his sticker in 2016, you're not into the Topps Chrome. This is also a cool French kit, while compared to the, you know, PSG kit that you could get. So maybe if you're a French kit believer, that could be a narrative for you. Next to that, Robert Lewandowski PSA 9 going for $450. I will take a look at that because I feel like that is worthy of looking at. That is down quite a bit. Well, nah, that's not that bad actually. Huh. I mean, looking at this, I guess $490 on the last sale, $450 here, so it is down $40. I would much rather, again, you know, we talk about saving up and getting a better card. I'd much rather save and go from the $450 for this action shot to get, you know, the portrait shot for maybe $750 if you can. The portrait shot much more rare than the action shot. Some believe maybe it's because PSA graded some fake stickers. I know, you know, fake stickers, we've never heard of those, but there is a huge discrepancy. So personally, I would go for the alternative. But at the same time, I mean, this is a Lewandowski that isn't that high grade. I mean, it's pop 1 of 19, 9 graded higher. Think about that. That is still extremely low pop. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, right? If Holland had a rookie, I mean, that's just so ridiculous. Like, that shows how crazy the soccer card market is. Think about Holland foosballs, right? I think there's 1,000 of them in a PSA 10 grade, and they sell for 1,000 every day of the week. This Lewandowski is pop 1 of 19. Well, actually, Let's check PSA. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. This says pop 1 of 19, 9 graded higher. What do we think it is? Dude, I hate PWCC. This is pop 62, 24 graded higher, damn it. Update these things. You cannot, I mean, I guess you can. You shouldn't be able to sell a sticker claiming it's a pop 1 of 19, 9 graded higher, which in total is 28 in that realm, and it's actually like 100 in that realm. I mean, that's just, I mean, to me, that seems like false advertising. Luckily, this, this episode isn't sponsored by PWCC yet, so hey, I say whatever I want. Get wrecked. I mean, that's terrible. Come on. You gotta be better than that. That's ridiculous. Still, point still stands, right? Even if that's a pop 70, 30 graded higher, who cares? When Holland is pop 1,000 and sells for double the price, doesn't make any sense. Especially, I mean, he has so many other rookies. It's just insane to think about, right? But it is what it is. The market is what it is. They act irrationally. That actually makes me, I mean, I'm not like a Lewandowski guy, right? I don't really love Lewandowski. But I might be into it. 2006 Lionel Messi, PSA 9 going for $450. A good bit higher, $100 higher than the Ronaldo. Doesn't seem crazy. I mean, honestly, I'd pay $100 more for the Messi than the Ronaldo, but that's just me. Next to that, another Simplicidad Mbappe. Here you have the, I guess this is a jersey number 10 of 10, but again, why is this outselling Ronaldo? I guess it is earlier in the career, but again, who cares? PSA 8 Campio Messi going for $468. That feels like a really good pickup. Whoever got that, $470 for PSA 8 of the more rare version of one of the harder to grade of the three. This and the blue are the hardest. This is actually the hardest to get a 10 on. Why? I do not know, but that is what it is. Buffon selling for $468. This actually is a pretty good sale. The PSA 8 went recently for, kind of a discount. So I thought that this was going to go a little bit lower, but that is a decent sale. Then you got a Pele and a BVG 4. Be careful with BVG because basically, you should probably subtract like 2. So this is more than likely a PSA 2, SEC 2, whatever you want to say. So pop 1 of 2, 10 graded higher for BVG. So it seems like a lot have been graded. Again, Pele, people paying up for Pele. I'll always condone it, right? It might not be something that I want to do because I'm not a huge Pele guy. But again, when you see the prices people pay for all this other stuff, right? I can see why people pay whatever they do for Pele, because he's a go. It is what it is. Red foil Messi out of 5, PSA 8 going for $492. Again, seems pretty cheap for the red. If red's gonna have this huge narrative, I mean, that seems very cheap. I remember gold anythings were selling for more than this, and this is red, so I know it's more modern, but here we have again, like, just right in front of my face. Okay, so we did the early Holland Lewandowski debate earlier. I mean, this is 2016 on card Noir. People love Noir. Lewandowski going for $504. While compared to this, I think it's a sticker. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a sticker leaf early Holland. Who in their right mind is going to want to buy that? I mean, there's not many Man City collectors as is. Hate to call it out, but I mean, it is what it is. There's not a ton of them, so are they really going to chase, unlicensed Leaf sticker autos? While compared to this, which is an on-card, Bayern legend that's just, I mean, it is so ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that's why whenever I gloss by these Leaf autos for the prospects, this is why. I think they're just silly. But that's just me. Buy what you want to buy. Have fun. It is what it is. Up here, you got a gold Harry Kane rookie PSA 10. Seems like a good price for Harry Kane, to be honest. It says it's pop 1 of 10, but can we believe that? Who knows? It is what it is. Cristiano Ronaldo, 2006 Merlin, going for $516 in a 10. First year World Cup. Again, that was a huge narrative at one point in time, but that was a point in time where people couldn't afford rookies or going after, actual modern or pre-modern grails, and now they can. So, a little less of a narrative around that, but, even then, in that sort of same vein, I guess, you're going to have a lot of competition for first World Cup cards, so it's always something you're going to have to be thoughtful of. Here we have a BGS 8.5 of the Campione. I would much rather go for the PSA 8 of the Campio that went for like $30, $40 less. I mean, this is, I guess, sort of one of those situations where it doesn't make too much sense. Usually the market puts a premium on PSA, so you would think the 8 would sell for more than the 8.5, especially when it's a more rare version. But I think that this is just an example where in the soccer card market, not everyone really knows the intricacies of things. And so they pay up for grades and might not have the best purchases at times, but that happens. Next to that, we have a Pele, looks like an action shot, maybe him scoring a goal, 1963 PSA 4. Pop 1 of 1, none graded higher. Again, you know, with vintage stuff, I just always warn about Pop 1 of 1, none graded higher, because I can almost guarantee there will be more graded higher. Here, the cert doesn't seem too recent. I mean, it's 59 million cert. Right now, they're sort of grading around 70 million, so it is from a good while back. But again, you know, I definitely warn with PSA Pop 1 of 1, none graded higher on PWCC, because you never know. Above that, I mean, this isn't something I really want to talk too much about on any of these, if I'm going to be honest. 1960 Garrincha, 2.5, going for 516. I guess what I would say, kind of looks more like a card than most other early Brazilian things. I'm guessing it is, so maybe that could play a factor in why it is so highly priced. It is also Pop 1 of 1, no grade higher, so maybe it's sort of this rare release for Garrincha. I'm not, you know, too into the weeds for Brazilian issues from the 60s, just because, again, I feel like there's so many, and there's so many that potentially could be out there, because Brazil's this massive country with a lot of collecting history. So for me, I don't want to dig into the weeds, but I will look from afar and enjoy it. And I do think that this looks really good, and if you're a buyer of that, you know, by all means, more power to you. Looks really fun. Next to that, a DD from 1954. It says rookie. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a DD history buff, so I do not know, but it does look like a really good sticker, and if it is truly a rookie, then, you know, would seem very, very rare for such a good player, but I don't know how many times I say it, I just don't know if I could trust PWCC titles and subheadings, so it is what it is. 2018, Killing Up, I mean, this is, again, sort of the modern versus ultra-modern debate, all right? I don't know much about these, but I'll be honest, I can understand purchasing these more than these, right? I mean, this gold sticker, sure, it's a PSA 10, but there's tons of other things you can buy for Killing It Pompey 2018. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know, the amount of options are out there. And then next to it, you know, you got another option that's out there, and this is a red and blue wave. I don't know. I don't really like the prism parallels, you know, the unnumbered parallels and all that stuff, but if you're into it, I guess you're into it. That's sort of to each their own type of a row there, you know, two totally different sides of the hobby. Moving on up here, this is kind of fun. We have a BGS 7.5 Messi. This is the foil version. Earlier we saw the non-foil in a BGS 8. This is the foil version with the proper, you know, side of the Messi on the front part of the slab, so that's always good. Going for 550, honestly, pretty strong sale, I would say, relatively. Now, this is one of the more rare Messi rookies, at least in totality of population out there, so I can see why it sort of has a premium. But it's been a lesser preferred rookie, I'd say, mostly just because you have 4 people on it. I personally like it because it's foil, and, you know, Messi doesn't have any rookie foils other than that, so it is intriguing to me, but kind of a pretty impressive grade considering, you know, the 8 Campio and a PSA 8 went for less, the BGS 8.5 went for less, so kind of strong. Again, you know, a different wave. You can get the green-orange wave, you can get the blue-red wave, you can get the gold parallel, and go get, I mean, you can get whatever you want, up to you. Here we have a 1999 Super Clubs Ronaldo Nazario Lima, PSA 9. Got the R9 1999, PSA 9, everything 9 going for it there for 560. Don't know too much about that. That isn't a Ronaldo rookie, but it is Pop 101, just 1 graded higher, so maybe a more rare release, or at least rare in that grade, certainly for the time being. Next to that, Franz Beckenbauer 3.5. Going for 560. This seems like a pretty strong sale. I will look that up. So 3.5 goes for 560. Before that, yeah, I mean, there was a PSA 3 that went for 210. I mean, that's a huge increase. Maybe the PSA 3 was overgraded. I do not know. Before that, PSA 3 going for 600. Okay, so that just seems like a really crazy sale right there. I wonder if we can, I don't think we can see the back. Well, it is what it is. Guess we'll never know. But, I mean, in relation to past sales, seems about right in line, which is pretty impressive. I thought that those were gonna, you know, kind of fall off a cliff. Maybe that was wishful thinking on my end, so I could pick up one for cheap, but yeah, I don't know about that anymore. Above that, 1958 Pele. Oh wait, this is Garrincha. I just always assume with the 58 Bremers that it's just Pele, but Garrincha PSA 6, really high grade on that. This is, you know, as I was sort of alluding to, a set with a lot of Pele in action rookies, and so there's a lot of just great cards that you can be finding in that set. Next to that, Kylian Mbappe, PSA 9 going for 720. That's about right and locks up with where it's been lately. It's been dropping down from the 800 to 900 range to the 700, 800 range, so that's sort of where we're at now. Andrea Pirlo, $720 for his rookie pop 1 of 11. Pretty strong price. I mean, if I'm being honest, obviously it's a high grade, but you know, Pirlo's one of those, I would say, secondary stars in pre-modern, and especially pre-modern stickers have been struggling, so that's a really nice price. Next to that, another Pele here. I don't know, you know, it's a PSA 7 again. I know nothing. I'm just someone spectating this from afar, trying to warn people that also know nothing, right? Maybe you're a big Pele collector and you think that this is a steal and that I'm stupid, but just anything high grade that's sort of later in Pele's career, I am just hesitant of, because it's like, well, why is there high grade? And if there is high grade, I always just assume there's more, right? That's sort of my mindset going into this. So, I mean, it is a great looking photo, I won't lie. I do like it, but 720 again, don't really know what to say. Guess again this week we're gonna have a row of there's another one up there, so we're gonna have a row of Sapphire Erling Haalands. I'm not gonna look up the price because we already looked up a Haaland card. We kind of know where they're at. Here you have a 1953 Di Stefano SGC 2 going for 720. That is a very, very nice price there for Di Stefano. I think that's giving with the rookie label, but it's sort of one of these questions that you always have to ask. I mean, is the one earliest rookie the rookie, or can you go later? To be honest, this is like 6th or 7th year for him, so I mean it's a bit later, but at the same time, a lot of that early stuff's not very attainable. So fun one. Also, just this massive head in the middle of the action shot seems like a really unique take on things, so that's cool. Up here you have a PSA 8, oh my gosh, Baggio with the PWCC E Eye Appeal, top 15% going for 780. I do want to see what that's going for. Again, shout out to Card Ladder for not having Roberto Baggio on there. Just, I mean, give me a break. So here we are looking at PSA 8s. I mean, it's actually a pretty decent price. This Calcio Flash one for 1200. The Flash is more rare, so you would think that the Flash would do a bit better. Personally, I like the design of the regular Calciatore a bit more, not the Flash, but to each their own. Moving on down, what do we got? PSA 6 going for 150. PSA 5 going for 200. PSA 7 going for 275. I mean, if a PSA 7 was going for 275 and this 8 goes for, you know, almost 800, that doesn't seem terrible. I guess from the peak, I mean, even in the peaks, right? This is January. It went for 1260 in 2021, and then it ultimately did peak out at 2200. But I would have thought that Baggio would have taken much more of a hit since then. Now, that does make me sort of think that maybe he has more room to fall. I do not know. Just with Baggio, he has so many different options for his rookie that I do find it strange that he still holds up as well as he does. Personally, I like him. I want to own one day just because I think they are just absolute sort of, I don't know, classics in terms of vintage cards. Like the 1985 season, basically I have all of those Italian releases just imprinted into my brain, so I do like them, but I've just never owned up to get one. Here, a Casillas 1 of 1 sticker auto, but you know, it kind of is what it is with soccer. Sticker autos, in my opinion, are still okay, all right? Everyone loves to shit on sticker autos, but I do think they're still cool, all right? But, you know, I'm not going out there and buying 101 Casillas. That is someone else's job. Next to that, 1969 Pele, PSA 1.5. Oh, my Lord. See, like, I mean, I would trust this is rare, right? The PSA 7 that we were talking about before where I was, like, throwing out some warning shots, I mean, that's a PSA 7 selling for the same price that this PSA 1.5 does. Now, maybe I should also be worried about this. I mean, it was graded very recent, 70.2 million, but I mean, someone or at least 2 people out there think that that is very worth going after. So that's interesting. Again, just shows, I mean, Pele has a market entirely different to almost anyone in soccer. I mean, you could say Messi has that too, but to be honest, I don't even know if Messi has that. I guess numbered items for Messi really helped with that. If Messi didn't have numbered items, I think Pele would be almost in a class of his own in terms of how the market sees him. Above that, we have some more Mbappes. Again, what I was saying earlier with Mbappe, you have so many different choices. Not only do you have, you know, however many different types of stickers, all the different types of cards, but you got all the different types of parallels. And what do you want to buy? I do not know. Laser, Mojo. Laser's pretty hard to grade from what I understand, so, you know, could be cool. But again, sort of is what it is. PSA 9 of the Campione in a white, going for 900. Kind of on par with what we've been seeing lately. The white version of the Messi rookie is the least preferred of the three, so makes sense to me. I mean, one of the least preferred rookies in a decent grade doing a decent number seems to be about what we expect as of late. This Harry Kane going for 930. Pretty strong price. I mean, again, Harry Kane doing well in this auction. I don't know if that was a planned attack by whoever's selling those, but yeah, I don't think I've seen much Harry Kane at all in the weekly reviews we've been doing, so that's kind of fun. Up here we have a Gazzetta Pele going for 930. Again, I mean, I've said my thoughts on this a lot. I think it's a good looking photo, but I would not buy them. It's just an album cover that has been, you know, cut out with scissors. So, you know, there's a lot of them out there. Beyond that, Vinicius Jr., Red Velocity, numbered out of 50, BDS 9.5, going for about 1,000. You know, 9 centering, it probably is a PSA 9, to be honest, so I guess that is going to hold it back. But at the end of the day, I do like the Red Velocities a lot. I've collected some of the USMNT ones, and I think they're really, really good looking. So if you're into, you know, Vinicius, I could see someone going after that. Then we have a PSA 10 Lionel Messi going for 1,050. If we look at the graph for this, over the last 6 months, it's gone from 1,900, I guess, in the, you know, 2,000 range down to about the $1,000 range, but it is a little up, so I guess there is some sort of glimmer there, but realistically not doing all that great. And there's the infamous Holland that we were referencing earlier. Holland, PSA 10 foosball going for, you know, about 1,100, so all hail Holland, you know, just doing numbers out here. It is what it is. Then above that, we have a Maradona Calciatore PSA 5 going for 1,140, which seems pretty solid. I mean, the last couple weeks we've seen PSA 3s go for about 500, so PSA 5 going for 1,140. Not bad. Looks like a pretty good copy overall. I mean, just looking at it from here, doesn't look terrible to me, so I could see why that would do a good number. Champions League Purple Lionel Messi PSA 10, numbered out 250, going for about 1,200. Nothing too crazy there. The color Topps Chromes have been doing very well, especially if you got, you know, someone like Messi or Ronaldo. Then we have a couple Peles right here. We have a 1962 Calcio Campione. I think I said that right. PSA 1.5 looks really, really good. I mean, I will say both of these, I mean, again, I know nothing about the rarity, but in terms of early Peles, they both look amazing. I love the colors in the background. I mean, this yellow is great. It is a 1.5, so it's stuck, so got that going for it, I would guess. On the flip side over here, PWCC, so you'd assume PSA 3, 4 probably, but who really knows? But looks really, really good. I mean, the bright blue in the background looks amazing, going for 1,200 there. Pop 1 of 2, just 2 graded higher. I would prefer my vintage soccer slabs in SGC. I do think it looks the best, but I do also understand that with PSA you get the financial guarantee, and people sort of love that too. So works both ways, but I think that those are both great looking Peles and just a great looking row right here. I mean, this is more of what I feel like the soccer collecting should be, rather than what we see in some other rows. But that's just me. This one, wow, I was not expecting this row. I figured we were going to get more of the same, but here we have a 1955 Maldini PSA 3? That seems so high. Why? Oh my lord, wait, why? Maldini Forza goal. All right, come on now. Okay, all right. Well, there's not many sales in here, so I'm guessing that that's gotta play a factor, right? Okay, so I guess an SGC 4 sold for, okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm crazy. I mean, if an SGC 4 sells for 1,000, I guess before that a PSA 4 sold for 3,000. So, and before that a PSA 3 sold for 1,620. Maybe I know nothing. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I haven't seen as many of the Maldinis. But if you look up Baggio sort of had a lot of them come out lately. Here you have a PSA 6 going for 3,350. Yeah, so, I mean, if you just sort of gauge it down, I mean, I guess this PSA 6 has an eye appeal sticker, to be fair, but went for 5,100. But this is sort of what I'm saying. I mean, you know, Baggio's had some 6s sell. So in my opinion, you know, if a Maldini comes out, or a couple Maldinis in better grade come out, then, you know, it might kind of crush the value of that lower sticker. But, you know, it is what it is. Here, this, I guess, is sort of what I'm talking about. Baggio in a 2 and a 2.5 going for 1,500, 2,000. Generally speaking, I guess you can tell that, I mean, this is just crazy, right? So this Baggio, and this is what's kind of gone on with the Baggio. The earliest sale of the Baggio in 2022 sold for 33,000. And then from there, it just cut beneath itself one after another, right? And now PSA 6 is going for 3,300. I mean, that's just a huge drop, right? Two better grades going for a tenth of the price. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And so that's kind of why I guess the Maldini sort of, you know, just jarred me like that. But I guess it's not a terrible price. Personally, I'd rather just go with a better grade Baggio. If you can get a Baggio 6 for 3,300, you know, I think a Maldini 3 at 1,300 is a bit much, but again, there hasn't been a ton of these selling, so I could just see some, you know, collector that wants to complete a Maldini set or a Baggio and Maldini set, just being like, you know, I'll pay what I gotta pay. Johan Cruyff, this is the Vanderhoot 68 through 70. Could be 2 different years, basically. This is SGC 7. A lot of, I don't know, population coming to the market, whether it be because there are just a lot of good raw stickers out there from this set, or because people are able to remove it without any sort of damage. Who knows? Either way, this sticker is sort of, I guess, plummeted in low grades, but the high grades have sort of stayed pretty strong because a lot of them came to market at once, and so they just kind of held a lower price point. But it is very interesting. Personally, I do think it's a great looking sticker. I think if you're a Cruyff collector, personally, I would want to go after like the rainbow of Cruyff rookies. There's only 3, so it's pretty simple. And to be honest, a high grade Cruyff rookie going for 1,200. Again, I don't want to bring everything back to this Holland, but I'm going to do it again. Think about it, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Changed my camera. Clouds came out and got really dark in here. But, you know, the Courtois, interesting to say the least. Always fun to see where the 101s sell from the set, especially the blacks, which are the true 101s, not the Sambas. Next to that, we have a lot of 19 PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe black backs going for 1,600-ish. So, you know, $80 a piece or so. You know, I can't say too much about it. I think that personally, you know, I guess if you wanted a PSA 10, that's the best price you're probably going to get per PSA 10. But at the end of the day, you know, if someone's selling bulk lots of PSA 10s, probably shows that there's a lot of those out there. And obviously for the 2018 stickers, I mean, there's a ton. I wouldn't want all the 2018 stickers in the world graded, is the way I'll put it. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Above that, PSA 5 Ronaldo Mega Cracks going for 1,560. I've seen some people talk about this card's kind of down. I think it just makes sense. I mean, Ronaldo isn't, you know, on the same level as Messi, in my opinion, anymore. A lot of people probably feel the same way. And generally speaking, I feel like this card was a little overhyped in the sense that it was selling for 2 to 3 times the sticker prices. I know the stickers have the, you know, sort of negative connotations around it, but in my opinion, I think the sticker looks better and is more rare. I've been seeing a lot of these appear. Maybe that's just because I'm in Soccer Studies Discord. He's Portuguese. A lot of Portuguese people come in the Discord, and so I see a lot of them, but I have seen a lot of them. I'm just kind of numb to it, and I've seen some better grades than a PSA 5. So those selling for 1,500 still feels like a good price point to be at, right? I'd probably rather fork up a little bit more for the Messi. You know, that's probably in the 1,500, 2,000 range. Maybe I'm behind the times. Maybe those are more expensive now, but it feels like they're near that. Next up, we have a 1999 Panini Calciatore Soccer Pack. This has potentially the Maradona 1979 Panini Calciatore in it. Oh, it says, oh, never mind. It does have it in it, because if you read further, it says Diego Maradona top. Okay, well, that explains why this is so expensive. Whenever I first looked at it, I thought that was a ridiculous price, because that basically assumes a Maradona is in it, which makes sense now. That's actually really, really cool. I guess if you had one with Maradona out of it, that would also be nice, so you could see them both, but that is a really, really cool thing to have. Maybe you can sell it to a YouTuber one day who wants to fake like he just found this Maradona. I don't know. Beyond that, Blue Red Fusion Holland going for 1,770. Again, you know, it's a Holland thing, but I will say, for me personally, I'm not a big Holland guy, but when I did own some Holland, it was the Prize Footballers. I like the Prize Footballers Holland. I think they're great. You know, you get the Salzburg kit, you get the nice border, it's like a refractor. I mean, it's an insert, so, you know, you have that going around with it, but I do like the colors. I think this is a really cool card. Not as much hate in my heart for this Holland compared to, you know, some of the others, especially like the foosball. Then there's a PSA 10 Blue Messi going for 1,770. Comparing that to the purple before, that went for 1,200. I guess I'd rather buy the blue. I mean, obviously it's a bit more expensive, but you get the color match going on with it there, and there's 100 less of them. I think that the blue is probably a better deal than the purple. I can see why people would want any of them, and we just sort of saw a green one up there, so I guess we'll compare with that in a second. But yeah, really cool card. I think that they are great. PSA 10 Topps Merlin Mbappe. I guess I will say for the Obsidian earlier, I thought it went cheap. I mean, I guess it was an 8, but you know, Obsidian doesn't really grade well. So this is, I guess, sort of the duality of it. If it's a PSA 10, maybe it goes for 1800. This is also Merlin, which I think has a little bit more allure for the Europeans, but it is what it is. Then we have a blue PSA 10 Holland. I wanted to see what this went for because I'm not really sure. I personally don't like the Topps Chrome Champions League from this year. I know, you know, there's sort of the debate between Bundesliga and Champions League. I like Bundesliga better. But you know, I could see why Champions League would also be something that people want. Before, a PSA 10 of this sold for $2,400 in January, so it is down a little bit, but not terrible. Seems a little down, but about right in line. Next to that, we have a Cristiano Ronaldo Noir patch auto, numbered to 25, going for $2,700. I'm not sure if this is game worn. I don't know what Noir was all about. Player worn material, so that's gonna, you know, sort of play a role in it. People do like Noir though, but from what I've been able to see, they preferred Spotlight, I believe it is, and that's sort of what they chase. Here we have a PSA 10 of the green out of 99 going for $3,000. So I think the blue is the best buy out of all these. I think the purple is a bit high. I think the green's a bit high. I think the blue is a bit low. I'd go for the blue, $1,700 over the green for $2,800, but again, I'm not buying any of these, so I guess I'm not going for any of them. But that does seem pretty high for the green. That orange BGS 9.5 sold for, you know, a little over 4K recently. So a green number to 99. I know it's a 10, but we can talk about the PSA to BGS premium until the cows come home. Top 4 though. This is nice. This is nice. This is what it should be like, where you just have goats at the top of the list. This is what I yearn for. Not as high prices this week. I mean, honestly, just not as good of cards as we've seen lately. Most weeks lately, it's been like an 8,000 across the board type of, you know, top 4. This week we have some 3,000 to 4,000. So you have the Pele Nobility Crescent Signatures. Really cool set here. There are some numbered ones, so that's something to look out for. There's a nice orange one. I think there's a gold too, and there might be others. But this is BGS Pop 147 graded higher, allegedly. Going for $2,800. Pele on card, especially a nice looking card like this, in my opinion, still a great card. I guess it'd be a bit of a debate maybe between the two. I don't know. The 2014 Prism Lionel Messi right here going for $2,800. It does have a 9 for corner, so it's probably a PSA 9, but it is gem mint, so it is in that ballpark. But you know, I'd probably rather go for the Pele. Thing with Pele, he's signed a ton of things, but he doesn't have a lot of like great cards. I feel like Messi over time will have so many great cards and so many signatures. Now you do have the Prism effect going for this compared to this, which is Nobility, which doesn't really have that sort of allure. In my opinion, this is sort of like the budget version of if you wanted to buy Flawless or Eminence or any of those top sets. These typically go for a bit of a discount. The Flawless Pele out of 10 that's sold a couple times has been like 4 to 5K. So as you can tell here, you get this for 3K, but it is unnumbered. So feels a little high, but at the end of the day, a Pele on card that looks this good, you know, pay whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you one way or the other. Well, I will. I'll think you're probably pretty cool for owning it, but it is what it is. This is actually a real Lionel Messi auto, at least as far as we know, the right sort of signature for what the hobby likes. Next to that, we have the 2015 Flawless Ronaldo, numbered out of 25, International Icons going for $4,400. And then to top it all off, I was just talking about the fake versus real autos. Allegedly, this is what the hobby claims is a fake auto because, as I've talked about before, it has this sort of hanger type auto where it looks like a coat hanger right there in the L, rather than over here where it looks like this small little loop off to the left, right? And so that's what people say to look out for. In theory, a National Treasures on card, game worn, you know, numbered to, what is this, 10? Yeah, numbered to 10, Lionel Messi. I could see why it does this, but at the end of the day, I'd take all 3 of these other cards over it, and you could basically get all 3 of these cards for the same price as that one. And I take each one of them probably over that one, to be honest, knowing what we know, right? Now, if it comes out down the road where like, maybe this isn't fake, maybe Messi just loves signing differently all of a sudden for a few different releases, then, you know, I could see the narrative turn. But if I could get all 3 of these for that, oh, I'm taking all 3 of these every single day of the week. That's going to be it for this PWCC weekly review. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Would love to hear your thoughts on the top 4, how you feel about the Messi auto, and any other purchases that you might have made or wanted to make during the PWCC weekly. Would love to chat about it down below. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. If you want some more videos like this as soon as we go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.